good to have you to speak about your book, because this book speaks a lot about the former Nelson that a lot of people don't realize today what it really was like and what we are losing today.
The essence of that book is we break up a unique constitutional constellation. For what? It asks in the book, what did we gain? What did we lose? Well, my opinion is we gained absolutely nothing. On the contrary, there's a whole lot that we lost. Today, State Secretary Knops could sit down on his desk in Holland and give directives to the Minister of Finance in St. Martin. No, you won't do this. Yes, you would do that, and so forth. Give directives to the Prime Minister of St. Martin. In the old days, back in the days of the Netherlands Antilles, the Dutch politicians had to deal with Dr. Watty, bless his soul, who was a giant. They had to deal with Captain Chance, who was also a giant. They had to deal with Mac William, God bless his soul, also a giant. Papa Godet, a giant. So they couldn't come with no nonsense to these people. Those Dutch politicians knew that these guys were strong politicians. They were strong personalities. One thing they didn't have a bunch of degrees. They weren't engineers, they weren't no doctors, they weren't no licenciaten, but they had two things. And those two things for me are important in a politician. You gotta have compassion. You gotta have compassion for your people. You gotta love your people. That is one. And two, you gotta have courage. A given moment, you gotta look at a guy in the eye and tell him, do as you want. This is how it's gonna happen. And if you don't have that, you're wasting the people's time.
But don't you think, too, the names you just mentioned had something also different than today's politicians? They were not fighting the Dutch in public.
No. They had more diplomacy. They had much more diplomacy. You see, they had a clear vision of what they wanted. Okay, that's one. And because of their firmness, whether it was Dutch, American, Chinese, whoever was at the table, they knew you couldn't pass that line because they weren't going to accept it. The Netherlands Antilles was 6 beautiful islands. They still are. Today, we are fighting to find common ground where we could fight back the Dutch with their approach. While we had it, we were together. I could have gone Curacao, live, work, love as I please. I could have gone Aruba, I could have gone Bonaire. Today, for me to have worked in Curacao, in the parliament as an advisor, I had to go to the immigration department, pay 600 guilders, like any other foreigner with a Dutch passport.